This morning, we're just gonna really open up the shoulders to start with a couple of nice gentle shoulder circles. So the reason I bend my knees and get low is just to also start warming up the legs a little bit. Don't think about it as like a deep squat or anything. Just think about nice easy bend and then nice big shoulder circles. You're either going forward or backwards, and then you'll switch halfway through. This is really get the blood flowing, open up the joints. This active mobility really helps us get more stretch when we start doing stationary stretches. You should start to feel some warmth going through your shoulders. Start your breath, really get intentional, right? Start taking those deep breaths in, and then let's switch directions. So here you might not do the squat because it's a little bit awkward, but keep a soft bend in your knees so that your back isn't arching too much. You don't want to be like hyperextending your back. Just really opening up the shoulders. Yes, I hope it's starting to warm up like mine. Feel that nice burn. Good. Then I just want you to shake it out. I want you to take a couple deep breaths in. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just giving yourself a little bounce, feeling your body grounded to your mat. A couple deep breaths in. When you breathe in that air in through your nose, think about it going right up to your brain, right? You're getting a nice deep breath of oxygen, shock to the brain. Then we're gonna reach up over the head. We're gonna clasp the hands together. And I want you to think about giving your head a little bit of a hug with your biceps, right? You're just getting it that close. And you're reaching up towards the sky as if you're trying to touch your fingertips to the moon. And you're just gonna bend gently to one side, not very far, just to feel a slight, moderate stretch. Just a little, and then to go to the other side, you're just hugging your head gently with your biceps, keeping them tight. Beautiful. And then the other side, one more time. Just think about now reaching further with the arm that's stretching the most, just reaching it up towards the sky as you're slightly bending to the side. And then the other side. So you're just lengthening out that arm that's reaching over the head just gently. Breathing in the air, keep the air flowing. And drop the arms as you feel like a nice little burn. So roll out those shoulders a little bit. Now we're gonna start to warm up the lower legs a little bit, and we're just gonna do a forward roll. So here, you wanna make sure that you take your hands and you're almost gonna just think about feet are hip width apart so they're not too wide. Nice soft bend in the knee. You're gonna slide your hands down, keeping a flat back, right? Your back is flat until you hit your knees. Then you're gonna roll your head towards the floor, roll your spine all the way so that you're reaching down towards the mat, and you have a just gentle bend in your knees. It's just a little one so that your legs aren't locked straight. And I want the crown of your head pointing towards the ground. The crown of that head is really lengthening so your neck is relaxed. And your whole spine is getting a nice forward flexion. All those muscles are getting lengthened right now. Then with a soft bend in your knee, you're gonna peel up from the lowest vertebrae to the top so your head comes up last. Peeling your spine all the way to the top until you come up tall. And then you're gonna widen your stance, and we're gonna do the same thing, except now we've got wide legs, so we're gonna be getting into the groin a little bit more. So now you wanna, again, slide down to your knees with a flat back. And then once you get to those knees, you're gonna curl, dropping your head to the floor, dropping your fingertips to the floor. You've got a nice little gentle bend, but you can also think about shifting your butt left and right to really feel your inner thighs, your groin. You don't have to move your hands. You're just kind of shifting your hips left, right. All you got to do is shift your butt, and you're going to feel a nice little gentle pull in the inner thighs, right? Let your head drop. Remember, always relaxing your head. Take a deep breath in here, down at the bottom. And then with the gentle knees, remember you're going to peel up slowly from the lowest vertebrae all the way to the top. Your head is going to come up last. Excellent. All right, now we're going to come on down to the ground. And I want you guys to start on your back so that you're lying flat on your back. Your knees are starting off nice and bent so your low back can hit the ground. And what I want to do is activate the core. Before we get into more stretches, I'm going to have you activate the core by pressing your low back into the mat, actively pressing it as if you have a couple blueberries or strawberries under there, and you're just trying to squish them. Can you squish them? So your hips stay down, your shoulders stay down, but right now you're trying to squish some blueberries in the lower back. You're trying to make sure that that low back is actively pressing against the ground, and that's really turning on those deep abdominal muscles that we need to activate in order to really support our back. Now with that in mind, all you're going to do is pick up one knee towards the sky, straighten out the leg, press your heel up towards the sky, keep your low back pressed into the ground. You feel a stretch through your hamstring. You're gonna flex your quad muscle. You're gonna point your toe towards your face, but your heel is pointing up towards the sky. You're lengthening, activating. Keep your low back pressed into the ground. And then drop that foot. Keep the knee bent. I want you to press your low back into the ground again. Activate your core. Crush the berries underneath your back. And then raise the other leg up, really lengthening the knee and the ankle. You're flexing the foot, right? So when you do that, you're pulling the hamstring, calf, everything open. You're flexing your quad to even more so pull that hamstring into an extension. Breathe in deep. Keep your low back forced into the ground so your core is active. And then bring that one down. Good. Now we're gonna go into the hip flexors, so we're gonna actually hug one of your knees. And if you can, you're gonna lengthen the opposite leg out nice and long, right? So now you're here in a nice open hip flexor extension. You're hugging one knee. The opposite leg should rest gently on the ground. Remember, your heel shouldn't be off the ground, but you wanna have a flexed foot. So you still wanna point your toe up towards your face. Your heel points down and away from your body, but your leg should rest on the ground. And then I want you to squeeze your butt cheek on that side so you activate your glute. And your hip flexor is gonna pull a little bit further into an extension. You're gonna stretch it a little more. You flex your butt there of the straight leg. Hold, squeeze, breathe in. Always taking a deep breath into the muscles that are tight and letting it out. Couple deep breaths, then release that glute. Go ahead and switch legs, so hug the other knee. Give it a nice hug, straighten the opposite leg out nice and long. Flex the foot, press the heel down and away. Your calf should touch the ground. You should feel a nice hip opener here. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, breathe into that hip flexor. And then I want you to squeeze the butt cheek on that straight leg to really activate a nice opener for that hip flexor. You're gonna feel that pull. It's also a nice little glute activator, right? We don't even have to do squats to work our butt. Breathing. Beautiful, and relax. Now you're gonna take it to the other side one more time. This time it's completely passive. You're gonna hug your knee, straighten your leg, press your heel down and away. If you want to give your glute a little squeeze, you can. If you feel like the stretch is good, just holding a nice opener of the hips, that's fine to hold it. Make sure to take some deep breaths in. Always focusing on that breath. And go ahead and switch. Get the other side one more time. Nice lengthen of the hips. Really hug that knee in tight. You know, you really want to let that be the opener for the glute on that other leg as your opposite leg is nice and long. Nice deep breaths in. And we're going to bring both feet flat again. All right, knees are bent, feet flat on the ground. And we're going to do our hip opener, our figure 4. So here's where we take the ankle onto the knee. And the goal is to think about opening up that knee away from your body. So you're not pushing it, you're just thinking about opening. You can hold it here in this position because it's a nice way to just let that rotation of the hip get the stretch. Or you can bring that knee up, clasp behind the leg, and bring it into a deeper stretch. Most of you guys know this one, yep. Think about flexing the foot of the ankle that's on the knee. So if that hip is getting stretched, you want your foot to be nice and flat so that your toe is pointing up towards the sky. And you're still making sure not to let that knee cave into your body. You want that knee to always be opening away from the body to rotate the hip. Breathing it in. Those breaths go in intentionally to those muscles that are tight. And every time you exhale, you're releasing the tension. Breathing nice and deep in. Then it's pretzel time. So what we're going to do is we're going to release if we're up in the air, or if we're on the floor, arms are going to go out wide, and we're just going to gently rotate our foot all the way to the ground, allowing I always have to check everybody's form on this one. Yes, beautiful. And then for you, I know you have the flexibility, so I want this knee to open up a little more. Yes. And then you're getting a little bit more of that hip, low back, and IT band. Very nice. We're always thinking about this. Yes, opening. Yes, beautiful. Nice, good. And this is always the opener. Yes, beautiful. The more we can push that knee open, the more we're going to get that nice stretch through the IT band and the hip. Come back into the center. Have your knees bent. Cross the ankle over the opposite knee now. Think about, first thing you do should be to open that knee away from your body. All right, that's where you're going to feel the initial stretch in your hips. Then if you want more of a stretch, that's when you can bring it in towards your chest. But don't allow that knee to start caving in, otherwise we lose the full mobility of our stretch. You want to keep that knee open. You want to flex the foot of the ankle that's on the knee so that that really targets that full extension of the hip. Take a couple deep breaths in. Remember, always intentionally breathing into those tight muscles. And as you exhale, you're releasing the tension. You're thinking about release, release. Even though they might be shaky, they might be quivering, that's okay. Then you're just going to release your hands, bring your arms out wide. You can drop your foot back to the earth or keep it up before you rotate, bringing the foot down. Trying to keep your hips in the same place, but you're just rotating, allowing those hips to twist. And still thinking about opening your knee away from your body, actively opening. Holding it there, breathing it in. Keep the air flowing through that nose, out through the mouth. And then bring it back to the center. Feet back on the ground. Now I always like to do a pelvic tilt here just to align the pelvis. So it's a bridge. You guys know this one. Knees are bent. You're going to push through your heels. You're going to squeeze the butt, lifting the hips off the ground, holding it there at the top for a couple seconds, and then you're just going to drop your hips back to the ground. So we want to just do a pelvic alignment here. Sometimes we get twisted up, right, when we do any kind of hip work. So you're just lifting, realigning your pelvis. Squeeze the glutes at the top. You're training those hips to stay in alignment. Pushing through the heels so we activate the glutes and not the low back. You shouldn't overarch in the back here. You're just thinking about lifting the hips with the glutes. A couple of those just to get that alignment. And drop it down. Beautiful. All right, now we're sitting up. When you guys are ready, you're gonna have a nice straight leg hamstring feel here. So this is great because when your legs are together, you're not allowed to compensate, right? When your legs are wide or when you're doing this, you can always compensate. So I want the legs straight out in front. I want you to sit nice and, upright. And I want you to think about your chest bending towards those knees and going as far as you can with your chest pulling towards the knees so your back is nice and straight. You're not hunching, you're not arching like this. You're keeping a nice flat back, but you're only going as far as your hamstrings allow. Maybe your hands go on your shins or your ankles, maybe they can get to your toes. Everyone knows my flexibility limits. They're limited. But it's so good to keep this kind of a position for you, to really let your hamstrings get that full elongation that they can, with the back nice and straight. And now that you're there, you're just gonna take one leg, try not to shift anywhere. You're just crossing one leg over the other, and you're gonna hug this knee, and you're gonna give it a little twist. So we're gonna wring out the spine. Your back is nice and straight. You're holding the knee, yep. You're hugging and you're twisting towards the knee. So I really love this because we twist all those muscles that support our spine, and we wring out the blood so that we can bring all new fresh blood to that muscle area there of the back. Try to stay nice and upright just like you were when you were reaching with your hamstring. Your body is nice and long. Your head is reaching up towards the sky. Long neck. Breathe in. And then twist it back. So now legs are straight. We're gonna start the same way. Nice upright posture. We're gonna reach our chest towards our knees. Nice flat back forward, reach towards the toes. Take a nice deep breath. Always focusing on our breath throughout the whole recovery session here. Replenish those oxygen stores of the blood. Good. And then we're just gonna bring the other knee, ankle over the knee. I want you to give that knee a hug. And then keeping that nice upright posture, you're gonna twist. I use my hand just as a little bit of an anchor point, but I'm not trying to pull myself into rotation. Go as far as you feel like you can comfortably go with the nice upright posture. And then you're using your hand to just kind of hold you in that position so you can relax into the stretch. Your neck is nice and long. The top of your head is thinking it's up towards the sky. You're nice and long. Trying to wring out all that blood in those muscles of the spine. Good, and bringing it back to the center. All right, now we're gonna roll onto all fours. I love some of these next moves. These are some of my favorite morning moves. Before I even have time for anything else, it's always a cat dog. So we're gonna arch the spine up towards the sky, dropping the head, the crown of the head, pulling the shoulder blades apart, pulling your belly button up into the sky, arching like a cat. And then allowing yourself to drop the belly and lift the chin. You don't need to overarch in this position. It's natural, just whatever feels comfortable. And then you're back up into a cat stretch, really pulling the belly button in, pulling the shoulder blades apart, pressing the heels of your hands into the earth. Drop the crown of your head to the ground. Good, then drop the belly, lift the chin. One more. Pull them apart, really open up the back. And drop the belly, lift the chin. Now, I want you to widen your knees almost to the edge of your mat, and your toes are going to come together. You're going to sit back on your heels if you can. You're going to reach those arms forward into child's pose, bringing your forehead to the ground. Now, if you can sit your butt back on your heels, great. If you can't, just shift back as far as you feel comfortable with your arms nice and long. And you're walking those fingertips forward, thinking about really lengthening your lats, because your lats, huge muscle of your back, it really keeps a lot of our tension. So you're pulling those fingertips, you're almost walking them forward a little bit. And then you're going to walk your fingertips over to the side. You're going to bring them over to the left or right. And just think about getting a little bit more of that lateral stretch so the side of your body is going to open up. Holding it there, breathing in, take a nice deep breath into the side of your body, letting the rib cage open up a little bit, right? Feeling that openness through the side, and then switch up sides. Bring it over to the other side. Breathing into the side body. Beautiful. Then I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give you a pillow if you need it. I'm not sure if you'll need it because we're going to go into a hip flexor and we're going to do a hip opener. It's up to you if you need this. So here, you know, when you're starting on your knees, you're thinking about just bringing yourself up so you got one foot forward and that your hands can actually go to the inside of your foot. Once your hands go to your inside of your foot, you can shift your knee back to get more of a stretch so that your hip is in a nice open position, and that pillow's for your back knee if you need support for your back knee. Otherwise, just shift your back knee further back to get more of a stretch through your front hip flexor, right? And it's up to you where you feel comfortable with that hip flexor in position. Yeah. So that's perfect. And then if you wanted, you could push this knee back just an inch, and you're gonna get more stretch through the hip flexor. The knee. Oh, then walk forward with your hands. There you go. Yeah, and walk forward with your hands and your foot. I tuck my toe to pick my knee up. Oh yeah, the flexion in the ankle. Yep. So we're here, and you're thinking about just allowing those hips to sink into the ground to get more and more of that stretch through the hip flexor. Beautiful. And fun, when you have that much flexibility, you can also drop to your elbows. Yep. And that's a way that you can keep that hip open nice. Get your full range of motion. That's perfect. This is where we hold so much tension in our body, is right in that hip flexor. So we just taking it to the next level from the beginning openers where we're on our back. Now we're here, letting gravity pull us into the earth a little bit. All right, and then just walk back with those hands. Start on the knees. Yep, switch up the feet. So here, bring your foot forward as much as you feel comfortable. Bring the hands to the inside of that foot. Try to keep your knee flat on the ground, your foot extended. It's perfect, nice. Ooh. Try to breathe, try to relax. When you're in this position, without moving your knee back further, you could also bring your hands in front of your foot. It opens up a lot more, but that's more of a deepened stretch. So if you feel enough of the stretch, hold it where you're not fighting the stretch. That's always the key. When your body feels like it's fighting the stretch, it doesn't get as much time to release. Beautiful. Good, bringing it back. Oh. Here, we're gonna take our hands, we're gonna go up over our head here, and when you think about reaching to the spine with one hand and then bringing the other to the elbow and holding yourself in that position for the tricep extension. Yes, beautiful. I always say you really want to be reaching to the middle of the spine and then elbows up towards the sky. It's kind of hard not to arch, but do your best to keep a nice upright posture with this one. And you're just feeling that nice extension through the tricep, a little bit through the lat too. You're getting that nice opener. Ooh. Try not to let your head hunch forward so your neck is being pulled. Sometimes we let our head get stuck in the middle there. Beautiful. Good. Release. Shake it out. Give yourself a second to drop all that blood down the body. And then let's reach up again, both arms. Reach with the opposite hand now, coming in between the spine and grabbing the other elbow with the hand. Keeping yourself in a nice upright position. Holding it there, feeling a nice extension. Good. Drop it down. Let the blood flow down the arms. Shake them out. Let's do our rotator cuff stretch, the one where we're sassy. So we've got our wrist on our hip. Yep, like we're sassy. The whole wrist. So even, yes, mama, that's the sassy look. Then we grab our elbow and we give it a gentle pull forward. And it's just gonna feel like a chicken wing because there's all these tendons that hold it in place, but some of those muscles get nice release from this one. Small muscle groups in the back, around the shoulder girdle. And if you have a towel, you can also use that around the arm, but you got it. Everybody here has a good hold on it. The goal is to try to keep the shoulder dropped as you're giving it a gentle pull forward. Good, and then drop that. Now, it's good to flex the wrist, and it pulls all these forearm muscles as well, which is good for us, but it feels a little bit, you know, like uncomfortable because we don't get in that position very often. So we're going again, flexing that wrist on the hip, and then we're just giving our elbow a gentle pull forward. Yep. And if you need to modify, you can bring the arm forward a little bit more because all the way back is really a good challenge. Yeah, that was a little bit better for you, a little adjustment. Because if your wrist is way back here, it's gonna be really hard. But if your wrist is a little bit further forward on your hip, where you can see it, yep, that's good. And you're just giving it a little hold there. I try to think about it like right on my side, like right in that crease of our waistline. Then we pull it. Beautiful. Okay, let's shake it out again. Nice rotator cuffs, got a little bit more movement. Now, chest and shoulders, which we use so often, we're gonna open up our chest with a nice little shoulder roll, grasping the hands behind the back. If we can clasp them, great. And then we're allowing ourselves to roll the shoulders so that we open the chest, open the shoulders, and those hands are coming together behind our back. The goal is to just get in this position. And if you need a towel, you can hold the towel behind your back. You guys have it? Oh yeah, good. The next extension is if you wanted to pull your hands away from your back, you can deepen the stretch, but that's only if you need it, right? Because otherwise, just allowing yourself to hold this position and keep the shoulders rolled open, chest is open. Opening up more is pulling away from the body. Beautiful. Ooh, drop that one. All right, now coming back down to your mat, you guys, we're gonna finish down here with a little trap opener and also a little bit of our meditation, right? So here, you could be in a cross-legged position, whatever feels comfortable. They don't have to be crossed, they can just be open. You're gonna bring the heels of your hand down to the ground so that you can feel the earth below you. And what you wanna do is you wanna press the right heel of the hand into the mat. As you press the shoulder, you just tilt your head to the left. So you're allowing your neck to fully lengthen. You're pushing the heel of your hand into the ground so that you're depressing the shoulder and it's not staying up here. You're dropping it, and then you're just tilting the head. Now you're tilting the head, you're not yanking the head. You're just allowing it to drop over to the side so that you get a nice long stretch through the trap. You can tilt your chin down a little if you feel like you want to get a little bit more of the lat of the trap that's connected over to that, scapula, so you can drop it. It's such a big muscle, it just widens out right around that shoulder. Holding it there just for a few breaths, taking those deep breaths into the muscle, thinking about exhaling out, releasing. These muscles hold your head up high all day long, every single day. They deserve a once a week release, right? Ooh, go ahead and switch. So pressing the heel down into the earth, so you depress that shoulder, you drop the shoulder, and then you gently tilt the head. You can tilt it forward a little bit, dropping the chin, or you can keep it just to the side. Don't yank, just let it relax, let it think about lengthening, opening. We're trying to remind our muscles, giving it muscle memory of how it feels in its most elongated state. Oftentimes it's in a contracted state, it's in a tight state because it's being used. Breathing in, taking some deep breaths. Good, relax. Now you should feel a little bit of the weight of your head is different, right? It's kind of like, oh, my head is actually heavy, but my neck feels lighter. That's how you should feel with that one. Now I'm going to give you guys the option today to either stay in a seated position for your meditation, or you can lie on your back. So it's completely up to you.